are happy without being silenced up, so I think it's fine. I'm looking forward to what he can do with his core Undying. It's been a while since we've seen a core Undying, and there's a reason for that. It just really has some really rough timing that itemization doesn't really extend for you. I mean, you're always going to hit those power spikes regardless of items because of just the way your skills work, how they scale. So that's mainly why you don't see him get prioritization for items and farm. But it's always fun seeing this come out, Mike. Core Undying is just kind of a blast to watch. It's one of my favorite heroes, really. And I'm just glad we get to see it here today.
Absolutely. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Aren't you glad you stopped casting lands and you came back to the online adventure?
Oh, I love it, Mike. I love it.
Well, they're going for a quick smoke up. They want to find a pick-off. Now, the Leshrac, Emo, he does back off. But luckily for him, he won't be the first death. So who will, or will there be for that matter? Get some that's a very aggressive ward coming out already from the Winter Wyvern, from the Lich.
Yeah, that is definitely way far back. I'm not sure what it's going to try to spot out, maybe for a courier snipe later on, because they know this Safelane will be pressured hard enough that Doodle will be forced to use the courier early on, which means they could get a nice snipe on it, I suppose. Otherwise, I don't really see the point of that. Maybe Axe jungling as well, that's something they're watching out for.
You feel like, though, it could be that they're so confident Armel may just win the mid game, the mid lane, that they may force a Leshrac to jungle. Like, that's what I'm kind of getting from this, but I could just be completely wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely possible that could happen. They do secure 2 runes each, so nothing too insane there. Ninja Bogey does cop a lot of damage from that rocket barrage, but otherwise no first blood yet. No, a bit early.
Oh, well, hold on there. He almost goes down. He will get away, and he will deny the creep straight away. In fact, he's not going to back off. He will hit a tango and just go straight back into that lane. So, I mean, this safe lane, like, you're going to have that denied creep every single time, so you're never going to have a range creep available, especially once you get a few levels up in that deny from the Lich. That's going to be slightly hard for Doodle. Like, that's a lot of XP in gold.
Oh, yeah. And as a Gyrocopter, as an IR, you do want fast XP. So the really big thing is that XP denial coming out from Lich. It's going to be really painful for this dual lane. They do switch up the lanes. It is Kuku on the safe lane with the Undying. I think that's fine. You want to play aggressive. Playing aggressive against an Axe is usually a bad idea, but if you're Undying, I think you can make it work.
Making it work, John. Currently got 2 stacks of decay on the Axe. I feel like he's got to be careful now. There's no Arctic Burn available. Battle Hunger will come out, Kuku. There is another one out. This is hard for... It is a bit harder to creep skip with this Axe when you've got such low HP. Mind you, again, we always talk about how it's a bit of a double-edged sword because you can just heal up so fast with eating a tango. Kuku actually in trouble now as well. The Battle Hunger will come out. The Mystic Flare's coming out as well. Ollie, excuse me, the Arcane Bolt. Although, this Axe should want it, but the Soul Rip comes in and Kuku finds it.
That's a nice first blood. He does get the kill on Axe first. He gets the XP. And as Undying, you really want XP fast. He gets the XP from the first blood. And Axe does not, so that's a pretty big hit for Axe. Again, all this pressure coming out, and you know, it lets both heroes kind of reset with their mana, which is kind of great.
Solid. Did a lot of damage. It was very clutch coming out from Kuku. Very calculated, I would argue. Kuku will have to be slightly more careful in the lane, I'm sure. Ollie is there with those arcane bolts being pretty frustrating. Though, that being said, he is out of mana with no clarity. I guess it goes back to that nerf on the Skywrath Mage, right? They upped the mana cost on that Arcane Bolt, especially in the early stages. Well, overall, it's 90 mana now. It does hurt the spammer quite a lot.
Oh yeah, it definitely does, and you know, early on you're just gonna be spamming to force heroes out of that lane, force them to waste some regen top lane out. Gabby does drop low, but does pop the salve. He is perfectly fine. I think when it comes down to these kind of lanes on the sides, I think TNC's happy with a trade like this. Overall, just slowing down that Gyrocopter in that early game, denying him XP, slowing down the IO as well is pretty good. Your Safelane Undying is actually getting a lot of farm, at the very least getting a lot of XP, and that's really what you want as Undying, just a fast level 6 to have pretty decent levels on all your spells, and you're happy.
They're going to go after this Skyrath as well. So Ollie will manage to back off. Has the salve available, so he'll return back into that lane, and it does look like the Axe will just keep farming up while this is happening. I mean, you're making it harder for the Axe, but he is still getting that farm. Now Tim's maybe in a bit of trouble, but Kuku is there. Does have the Soul Rip available, just in case. Everything will be fine. Meanwhile, we'll look into the mid lane, John. We haven't talked about that yet. Armel, level 4 right now. Emo, the same. In fact, Emo is doing probably an arguably better job in terms of denies anyway. He's slightly in front in that XP, although now it wasn't caught up. They're pretty much just trading farm evenly.
Yeah, it's not really going to be too much of an exciting lane. Leshrac can apply enough pressure onto TA that TA can't quite go in for a kill. It can be a bit, it can go a bit wild as it goes on, but, you know, it takes a while for both heroes to really get out of control. So, just a really sort of passive lane until a support rotates in, which I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Bot lane. This is very aggressive play on Kuku moving forward, has the decay again, but the silence comes in from Ollie. Kuku, I don't think he was expecting that Ancient Seal to be available yet, but it was, and now Tim's going to be in trouble. No mana available on Ollie though, so he can't throw out any arcane bolts. Now Kuku will come back into the lane. Battle Hunger will be there on Ollie. Excuse me, Tim's, but he does have the Cold Embrace just in case. Meanwhile, top lane, there's a bit of action going on, though they are fighting over these bounty runes. Gabby, no level 6 yet, so he can't really fight into this properly, and he does not manage to get that bounty off. Dogfights does grab it, and now they will get Dogfights. Ninja Boogie will go down in return. Looks like Gabby will just shrine up. So a support for support, but IG come out on top. They got the bounty rune.
Yeah, that's definitely worthwhile. For again, that bounty rune does give a lot of gold early on and then just scales up as the game goes on. So it's a nice early objective to secure, especially for heroes that want to come online early like the Gyrocopter, Leshrac. Good on them for securing that, even though you do trade 1 for 1. I think that's perfectly fine. Kuku is in a spot of trouble again, going really far forward.
They have the Cold Embrace available. It looks like they're trying to bait this Axe out, and they do. Ollie now, he's surrounded. The Cold Embrace comes and he can't do anything about this, and he just drops. Like, it just feels like Kuku, he's sitting on this low on HP on purpose. He's trying to drag them into this. And every time they do, I mean, that one time they had the Ancient Seal in place, so he was able to find the kill off onto Kuku, but this time around, that Cold Embrace available, he was ready for it.
Yeah, I think that is how you want to play Undying as a core. You really just want to really bait people into trying to get a kill on you, but you know, it's really hard against an Undying. You have the K, you have Soul Rip to sustain yourself, and they don't really have the greatest burst.
Mid lane, they end up finding Ninja Boogie, so Emo finds a somewhat decent trade, but Armel finds the Leshrac, which is much more valuable for him. They were going for a gank with Ninja Boogie. He did end up diving that tier 1 tower, but still getting that Leshrac down, getting Armel to free farm on the TA. I think you would agree that's well worth it for them.
Oh, it's definitely worthwhile. If you slow down the Leshrac, you give your TA, who is already ahead, an even better time in the lane. So this Leshrac will really have a hard time catching up. Although your side lanes are kind of suffering, at the very least top lane is, you know, Gabby's under a lot of pressure right now. He is fairly low, but a full level ahead right now of Doodle, so he's in an okay spot.
Yeah, speaking of, do you reckon Doodle needs a name change? Like, every time I say that name, I just feel like laughing like a little schoolgirl.
Yeah, it's a very innocent name, I have to say.
It is. I mean, I guess the definition of Doodle is to actually, I believe, draw, isn't it? Like scribble.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's got that innocent air to it, and you know, it's nice to have an innocent name like that, but his farm is definitely not going as pleasant as his name is. 35-6, just barely ahead of the Faceless Void. I think you want to be just a bit more ahead than this. Like 2 CS ahead is not really significant.
Look, bot lane as well, John. Ollie gonna get caught out here. He gets slowed down. The Soul Rip comes in. They'll split it, though. They do lose their, or I say they lose the tier 1. It was denied by Tims, who stuck around. So they will, at the very least, deny that gold to the side of IG. Now, Gabby, again, gonna find himself in trouble, but he has a Time Walk available. Supports do rotate in. Kuku actually cancels his own TP and keeps farming bot lane. that looks at this axe, wants to try and make it a bit harder for him. Still no call available, mind you. He has gone for the level 3 spin, level 2 battle hunger. I suppose at the very least, I mean, the Vanguard's up on this axe now. He's going to be able to get a blink dagger within decent timing. So, you know, 6-4, but IG, they're keeping up.
Yeah, they definitely are keeping up. This axe has had a pretty good run in this bot lane, I have to say, 54-1. Finding all the farm he wants. As you mentioned, he does have that Vanguard up. Working onto that blink dagger, fairly good timing for him. Kuku, I mean, you know, as an Undying, you don't require too much farm. It's still kind of stressful to see that your core Undying is pretty far behind. Does have the Tranquil boots up, but he has boots. He has arcane boots queued up as well. So interesting.
Top lane. Chrono has come out first time for the game, though. Doodle just walks out of here. They do have the slowdown, but Gabby taking too much damage. They might find dogfights, but the supports weren't in range, and now the cooldown comes in. They'll get Ninja Boogie. Tim's just making a run for it. He has the Splinter Blast available. Dogfights will dodge, though. Tim's gonna make the run. So that homing missile will chase. They do have the left track there as well. And Tim's, he's definitely dead.
Wonderful.
There's a bit of order back coming up from dogfights. He's denying Bips, apparently. Meanwhile, bot lane, Kuku making the chase right now with that flesh golem. Let it go. It looks like TNC, they mistimed that a bit. Like, the Chrono came out very early on. He didn't catch the IO in that, though. And as well as that, his supports were way too far behind to actually deal any damage throughout the Chrono.
Yeah, a bit keen on that Chrono, I have to say. You do want to catch, you know, if you're going to catch a core, you want to catch the IO with him. At the very least, it's going to cause issues early on. You really don't have too much damage yet on this Void, so Gabby will have to watch out next time he goes for that Chrono. Otherwise, yeah, a bit messy. The supports were slightly late. Good rotations coming out from IG. And, you know, they take the Netfruit lead now. Slightly, you know, it's not significant. 1k advantage for IG.
Yep, definitely not that significant. But I suppose in the end it does matter. Because, again, the TNC are the favorites, right? So, like, any lead you can get, it feels like it means that much more for the side of IG than it does for TNC right now. John, if I may, I wanted to ask, what items does Kuku go for exactly on the core Undying?
I mean, you'd probably want, in this game, I'd say, I mean, mech is always good. You'd probably want Guardian Greaves at some point to bridge up the silence. But I think your prioritization here is probably a pipe. A lot of magic damage is coming out from IG. A pipe will really ruin their day. So, yeah, he is working towards that Hood of Defiance. And hopefully get that pipe in a decent timing to counteract the damage spike coming out from IG.
Absolutely. Looks like Gabby is trying to farm up. I mean, it looks like he's trying to get treads, but yeah, he will. And he's going to go straight into that Morbid Mask next, into the Mask of Madness. Pretty standard stuff for him. Top lane, though, there is an engagement seemingly coming over. IG, they have smoked up Emo and Ollie. Who they can find. Him appears to be the target, but they've got to break that range. Quite far away, and Tim's, he will back off. So, smoke kind of wasted, honestly. And Emo, he hasn't been farming all this time. You look to the TA as well. Picks up a blink dagger now, so you've got to be worried about Armel and his damage and his initiation for that matter. Not a good sign.
Yeah, farm is quite good in Armel. Should have a good timing on that Desolator, and then probably after that you'd want the BKB, I want to say. And once that BKB's up, you're really going to have a hard time trying to burst her down. Your axe will probably not have the blink plus the blade mail up by then, considering how fast Armel has been farming in comparison. So you will have to really play around those, you know, that item timing tempo. Kuku does get the deny up top, which that's 2 denies now in the tier 1s, isn't it, Mike? So that's a lot of gold missing from IG's lineup now. And, you know, their lineup does want early gold from those towers with the gyro powder.
Middle lane, Chrono is available. They'll catch both of them this time, but Armel is there. With that chain cross, there's no chance. And Emo, he tried to rotate fast. They've caught the axe as well to make matters worse. He's so close to getting his blink dagger. He needs 50 gold right now.
No bash.
And he will manage to get out. Oh my, that was close though. 50 gold to the blink and you end up dying. Nevertheless,
yeah,
he gets out.
Painful. Yeah, he does have his blink now. Vanguard Blink up for this Axe, and they immediately smoke up with Ollie. But you can see the synergy coming out from TNC's draft. Just the Chronosphere, the Chain Frost, it's so much damage coming out early on, Mike.
Oh, it really is. But mind you, they have gone for a smoke on the side of RG. The call is there onto Armel with Mystic Flare as well. Can they burst him? It looks like they can. The dunk came out, but it was actually going to the way of Emo with that split earth. So the dunk doesn't actually go on cooldown, it was mid-animation. But that's a very important pick-up, I feel.
Yeah, it definitely is. You have to slow down this TA, or otherwise it gets a bit uncontrollable. This is the right time to go for ganks on Armel. Right before that Desolator and BKB come out, it's probably the best time to control them up. So try to slow down that farm coming out, and you know, as you do that, you're buying space for your Gyrocopter to find some farm of his own, which, you know, Doodle is not doing too bad in terms of farm. Just about 700 gold behind Armel. Really a pretty good spot to be in, all things considered. And you just kind of control TA's farm. Make sure that, you know, Armel doesn't snowball out of control. And IG still has a pretty good shot they can eat at. Oh. They spot out Emo.
Yeah, looks like he's been caught out, but Flesh Golem is going to slow him down a lot. This will give him enough time to rotate in. Gabby doesn't want to initiate too fast. Now the relocate, but then the Winter's Curse out onto the Iron. Look at the setup. Mel just uses the Melt Strike, takes him down. Doodle's the only one left. Can't even find the Lich right now. The Axe comes in, but misses the call, though Armel is in trouble. Can they get out of this one? The Mystic Flare comes in as well. Dunk actually misses. Battle Hunger is still there, but he will refract. The Cold Embrace is there from Tim's just in case. Very close call for IG, but unfortunately they end up losing two of their own heroes in the process.
Yeah, that was a really tight fight. It almost, if they got Armel, that might have been okay, but they lose their Ire, they lose their Leshrac. At the very least, they save their Gyrocopter, but it's still not a good sign when you go with that bad of a trade. And you know, I think they definitely have to find something in this map. Maybe instead of being responsive with the relocate, I think be more proactive with it. They were trying to relocate in to save the Lesh. Instead, they lost the IO and the Lesh. I think you just smoke up, try to find someone who's under a ward, and pick them off immediately with your combination. Right now, without BKBs coming out yet, it's fairly easy to do so. You need to drop those deep wards, though, which IG has not done.
This is the top lane. Kuku gonna be the target, but he knows something's wrong. In fact, no, he doesn't. He moves forward again. Axe has the blink, dump in, gets the call as well. Again, they have that Mystic Flare follow-up and the Ancient Seal to boot, but he is a very tanky Undying with that Hood of Defiance. The dunk will not be enough to soul rip time. He had enough. He had enough HP down to get the dunk off, but that soul rip just barely coming in clutch, and now Ollie gonna get caught out. It will just be a support kickoff, but that's gonna suck. You literally just missed a kill. And with this, the Chrono was there from Gabby. Does not go for the Axe TPs anyway. Still, it looks like it may be just a tier 1 tower going to the way of TNC. So they are pushing in bot as well, and in fact, mid lane, they have caught out the Lich. Ninja Boogie, he does overextend a bit. He dropped the Sentry Ward, but unfortunately his one gets the ward first. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Tim's is actually getting caught out as well. He does throw the Witch's Curse out. Now the Chrono follow-up is there from Gabby. Kuku immediately into the Flesh Golem, and it looks like they will be able to burst dogfights down at the least. So Google, Doodle, excuse me, is trapped and will end up falling. Now, Armel does push into tier 1 as well.
Yeah, they find those 2 kills down bot. They lose their Lich, but hey, who really cares? It's a Lich. They managed to take the tier 1 up top. And as IG, again, you're in a rough spot. I figured the IO would be able to drop a deep ward there, but again, no deep wards, finding these jungle farming patterns. So you can't really get the jump on anyone with relocate unless they're just isolated in the lane. Even then, that's not the safest jump because TNC usually has someone backing up the cores. So it's a bit of a wasted opportunity, I feel. You do want deep wards to watch at least Armel farming that jungle and jump at him with relocate, but it's not really happening yet. There is a smoke.
Well, they found Gabby. Oh, nice time walk out. Now the relocate though, he's in trouble. That Ancient Seal again working, or making a lot of work happen for the IG side. I mean, at the very least, this Skyrath pick You know, we questioned it a bit, but that Ancient Seal is really doing some work.
Yeah, this is what IG needs to do. Play around, force fights, while, and, you know, find pickoffs before the BKBs come out. Because once Gabby has that BKB, you're not going to be able to do that combination anymore. At very least, even if you get the call off, you won't have the magic damage to follow it up.
It's absolutely true, and he's getting close to it. Meanwhile, Mel, he will pick up a Desolator now, so expect that even faster push to come out from him. Not to mention the damage, of course. Pretty insane. You've got Deso up. I agree. I mean, that BKB coming out on Gabby, that's going to be a massive nuisance. Like, you've got nothing else to deal with it. Like, the only thing I can see that they could use is the core. But even that, like, I don't think Gabby's going to mind too much. It's going to be too hard to burst him down without the Mystic Flare.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a hard time to burst Gabby down. In that call duration, as a Void, he's not really the squishiest hero. Has a decent amount of armor, so even if that Blade Mail comes out, he'll not really burst himself down too fast, and it should be okay for them. They do go for the Roche now. I'm not sure if IG should be aware they do have a ward.
Going down pretty fast. The Meld Strike, the Desolator, all available. Poor Roshan can't really defend himself against 3 heroes like this. Kuku with that Flesh Golem as well to amplify that damage. But they are smoking in. They actually left Armel there. He gets bashed as well. The call comes in. The Carlo, he will save the day. Gabby will grab that. And the Chain Frost as well. But they dunked him immediately. Oli about to fall. They will at the very least get the IO. Can they really go after any more? The Winter's Curse is there onto the Axe. Now, Kuku, he'll be the target. Looks like he will end up falling. Though Emo, trying to find more. Gets Tim's. Gabby thinking about going back in, although he thinks better of it. A triple kill going to Emo. Have they found more? Yes, they have. Ninja Boogie gets caught out. John, they left Armel alone, and he gets bashed like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. They do get pretty much a full team wipe. Yeah, because that Aegis was there, so Gabby's around, but that was a full team wipe coming out for IG. A really good trade. Really a bit unfortunate for TNC. They do scan the entirely wrong area, thinking they would come in from the shrine, but instead they walk down mid through the river and just without smoke really catch TNC off guard. That is the Aegis gone, that is Chronosphere gone. That's a really big opening for IG. They have their ultimates up. They can play aggressive now and maybe take a couple of objectives off the map from TNC.
Well, it looks like Doodle and Dogfights get started at the bot lane, but they back off for the moment. Mind you, Maelstrom is up on this gyrocopter now. He's going straight into the BKB himself, so he's getting to that point where things are going to become somewhat problematic because he does deal a lot of damage. And even Dogfights, level 13 now, very close to that level 15 talent. So the side gunner should come out eventually. Late Mail even up as well on the Axe. This isn't bad timing at all for IG. This is actually pretty damn nice.
Yeah, they've definitely hit pretty decent timings on their items. They just need to be able to force these fights a bit more favorably. Do it like Roche. Smoke up, try to catch him off guard, force the Void to drop a Chronosphere in a pretty unideal spot. You know, just catching a few heroes spread out nicely. And I think you can definitely still steer this the way into your way as IG.
They'll go after, they'll get Oli. Now the Chain Frost as well. The Eagles will be there to save. Immediately Kuku jumps in. He just got a Bloodstone on this left rack. He doesn't want to die right now. Though Gabby sees it, says, excuse me, I'll take those charges. And he will. Down to 9 Bloodstone charges now. One of those things about the left rack, John. They go for this build every time. But if you do fall behind like that, like you get called out, it really does hurt.
Yeah, and again, that, you know, dying like that with a Bloodstone, it's definitely gonna hurt even more because Gabby and Armel will have their BKBs in a short while. Maybe in the next 2 minutes we're gonna see those BKBs pop up. And once those are up, as a Leshrac, you're pretty much out of the game. Like, you won't do anything in the team fights, especially with those initial charges up. You're just not gonna do damage. Skyrat Mage as well. So I feel like IG has to apply pressure while those BKBs aren't up yet.
Except they're going to try through mid lane. Again, they'll go for this tier 1 out, but look at this. They surround Emo. They've got that Winter's Curse set up. The Arctic Burn comes out. Emo, they do try to go in for the call, but they only get one. The Mystic Flare is there as well. Onto Armel. They'll take him down. Emo making a run for it right now. Meanwhile, Kuku still alive throughout all this though. Gabby, he'll find the left track. Emo should just end up dying, and he will again. The call down was there. They'll get Kuku at the least. The Tombstone ends up dropping. That'll be a 2-for-2 trade. They do get Armel. They lose the left track though. And John, those charges now down to 6.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a bigger win for IG or TNC in terms of overall match.
Yeah, Ninja Boogie will get caught out. I guess he makes it a bit better with the axe.
Yeah, it's a good additional trade, I guess. You definitely... in terms of net worth, that's definitely a favorable trade for IG. In terms of timing, I don't know. You kind of slow down TA's BKB timing, sure. She's just, you know, recipe away from it. At the same time, your left track is losing charges in that Bloodstone fast. I'm not sure if it was worthwhile trading that left track for the TA, because TA is still gonna hit that BKB timing, but you as the left track losing those charges, you're just gonna have less and less of an impact in these team fights as time goes on, especially since you can't sustain your spells.
Absolutely. Looks like a lot of this will be on Doodle to just keep farming up on that gyrocopter and try to carry them through that late game. The axe, I mean, he's getting some decent cores off, and again, they are bursting down Armel, but still got that Void to worry about, and now they'll go for a smoke. Chrono is up on Gabby. Didn't use it that last team fight because it was on cooldown. Now, if they find the Gyro IO, that would be very nice for them. They just made Kuku getting ready for the setup, and they keep with that Chrono. Nobody's there to help out, and Doodle gets melted. So does Dogfights. And with that scan, they want even more. They scout up the axe at the very least. Ninja Boogie should have seen him. They grab the Chrono, oh, excuse me, they grab the bounty runes. In fact, TNC, they'll grab every single bounty rune off the map. Tims was in the bot lane to make sure. They TP'd down to try to grab them before him, but it doesn't work out for them. And, well, I guess the net worth lead still 2k the way of TNC, but it's concerned.
Yeah, it's definitely concerning. Mike, Tims is working on a Maelstrom after Solar Crest.
Excellent.
On Winter Wyvern. I think that's the build. That's the build. That's the build this game. Interesting build from Tims. You know.
That's the core Wyvern build though, isn't it?
I think it is. It looks like they're letting Ninja Boogie on this Lich just play position 6, position 7 Lich, which, to be fair, as a Lich, you're really not gonna be too unhappy about anyway, I guess. At the very least, he has Tranquils up and 1 Bracer. As a Lich, you're kind of happy about that. You know, all things considered. Especially with 2 greedy supports like Undying, which is your 4, and your Winter Wyvern, which just dies bot lane alone.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. He went onto the axe, and well, you saw the relocate coming out immediately from the Gyro IO. I guess perhaps he was trying to bait it out to try and throw out a Winter's Curse and find a pick-off, but I guess the Gyro not hitting that hard yet. Couldn't really burst down the axe. He does have excuse me, he does actually have a Crimson Guard. Now they're going to die in bot lane. They do find Kuku, but the Flesh Golem comes out. Mystic Flare is there though. Another nice pick-off for IG. Gabby running in, no Chrono. Chain Frost will go out. He will just TP away with this. And again, Chrono is down for another 10 seconds. So Gabby ceases the chase.
Yeah, that's again a really good set of pickoffs for IG. Rather unfortunate they can't translate those into objectives, which is really what they're lacking right now on the map. They've taken 2 so far, but that crucial mid-tier 1 is still up for TNC, which gives them pretty decent Roshan control when it's back up. Gives them good control for jungle and response into, you know, any ganks near that tier 1. So it's a bit of a rough time for IG. Her map control is still not, you know, quite ideal. But at the same time, it still keeps them in the game. Net worth is less than 1k for TNC. And going into that late game, it's really hard to say which one scales better, I guess. The axe will always stay relevant. It scales as well as the enemy cores does. The Gyrocopter scales nicely as well, and you can always go for that Divine Rapier as the game pushes really late, I suppose. That's an option for Doodle. And the IO will, of course, you know, always provide a lot of heal. That teeter bonus is really great, so They do scale nicely on both sides. As it goes into the late game, I'm not sure who it really favors out to. I guess TNC has the slight edge, again, because Chronosphere is pretty much the hardest lockdown you could ask for. Nothing blocks it out except positioning, so it's always going to be strong and relevant. I guess as you go into the late game, the Void will be your biggest concern.
Fair points. Roshan up in 1 minute. Shadowblade is up. In fact, mid lane, they'll get started. There is a call onto the Wyvern. He has the curse available. Now the Chrono, it will come out onto 2 though. They didn't catch the IO out, but it doesn't matter because the IO just goes into it himself. Dogfight, what have you done? He'll go down as well. Gabby on a triple. In fact, they wipe out the whole team apart from the Leshrac, and Ninja Boogie immediately tips Doodle. And with that, the tier 2 tower is going to be taken down. TNC, yeah. I mean, 1 minute you see on, the next minute you don't.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like a really topsy-turvy fight. A good initiation from the Axe, but doesn't catch the Void out. And again, if you don't catch that Void, he's going to jump your backline, which he did. He caught 3 heroes in that Chronosphere. Actually, 2 heroes until Io decided to teeter in, trying to save that Gyrocopter. But, you know, it's a rough time to be IG. Definitely, you're going to lose your tier 2. Maybe get some chip damage onto your tier 3, although with short respawns at this time, probably not. But that does really open up the Roshan for TNC. Whenever it's coming back up, it looks like it is up. So that next Rosh should be easier to take.
Mid lane, Kuku runs to the left track by himself. He does get 4-staffed out, but he's in massive trouble. Now Chain Frost comes out. Doodle, he'll commit that BKB charge. That'll be in. In fact, no, it won't. Armel, he'll find Ollie on the sideline. Now with the trap as well, Doodle can get slowed down quite heavily. Armel doesn't even bother popping the trap. Then the Axe will TP in. They don't have a smoke, so they're not going for a rotation. It looks like they're just going to stick together and make sure they don't die. So mind you, the Roshan is ready to go, and the side of TNC know about it because of that trap.
Yeah, and you know, this Rosh is going to be crucial. It looks like TNC will want to take it fast. No wards up for IG, so they have no idea this is happening. And in fact, you know, most of them are at that bot lane, surrounding that tier 2, which I believe TNC will probably trade, but, you know, that Rosh is dropping so fast, I don't think there's even an opportunity to push that tier 2 down.
Yeah, they're not even going to get the trade. They're going to try and come in and try to defend this Roshan that's already so low, and they don't make that same mistake with leaving Armor alone. And with that, they see Emo, they slow him down with those traps. Another one coming out as well. They jump in Gabby. He's looking for the backlines. He has the Chrono. He sees Doodle. Doesn't throw out the Chrono yet, though. Now he will. Dogfight's going to try and help him out, it seems, but can he really? It looks like he'll just heal him up for the moment. Now the BKB, the 4 comes out as well. This could be bad. Gabby ends up falling. The Chain Frost doing no damage because of the Winter's Curse. Dogfights will end up eventually falling anyway, and Armel will find Ollie in the back. Now the Axe being chased down. Some miscoordination coming out from TNC though. So this Axe has no, well, he does have a bit of travel, but he doesn't bother trying. He will get the call off. They're going to try and turn this one around. Everyone buys back on the side of IG. Looks like they will get Tims in the end. Can they find more? They'll find Kuku as well. Looks like Axe will take both those kills. Although will manage to back out safely. And so I don't know who's more happy about that. Like TNC won the initial team fight. The buybacks make it so you pick off, you know, the Undying and the Winter Wyvern, but apart from that, like, is it worth 3 buybacks?
Honestly, I want to say no. You still have Aegis up on Armel. You still have Cheese up on Void. And sure, you know, Chronosphere is expended, but it's level 3 Chrono now. The cooldown's not so bad. It's only about 40 seconds left. Once he respawns, you're still, you know, you take that mid tier 1, I guess that's really big. Opens up the map for you, for sure. But you can't really translate that into any more objectives. I feel like TNC should be happy to force a team fight next. They know the buybacks aren't, you know, have been expended. So if they take the next team fight, that could be a tier 3 push coming out.
That. See what the plan is here from TNC. So IG still looking decent in this matchup. The net worth only remains a 2k advantage for TNC. Like, it's nothing at the 32-minute mark. So IG, they're still doing a great old job. Like Doodle, he's farming fantastically right now on this gyro. Second in net worth, only behind Armel by about 1k. Got the Satanic up as well, and he's going straight into that Butterfly next. Like, he's going to become quite hard to kill in a sense, right? With that Butterfly.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to kill. You definitely want to take that IO out to really make it slightly easier to kill. Oh, wait, we were talking about him. I was thinking about Gyro. It looks like we have a fight. Chrono's there.
They'll catch him out with the Chrono, and Gabby immediately goes after Dogfights, then goes after the Gyro. He will BKB up, but that time lock goes through the BKB. Nice call comes in though, but Gabby, he eats the cheese and backs off. The Train Frogs as well coming in. They've got no buybacks, John. And this could be over. They could go for T4s right now.
Yeah, it looks like IG's not going to call it just yet, but at the very least they're going to lose one set of racks, and looks like that is all TNC can get, because for the rest of the side lanes still do have towers. They will take at least one set of racks here.
That's what I'm saying though, maybe they just go for tier 4s after the tier 3. It looks like they are, John. They're getting ready for it.
They are pushing forward. Yeah, there you go. Just gonna force those tier 4s. Axe is forced to buy back. 60 seconds until, you know, Letrax back up. 30 seconds till Gyro is. Even then, I mean, you know, at the very least, the Chronosphere is not gonna be there, but the damage output from RML right now is insane.
The Axe doesn't know how to jump in right now. Like, he's waiting for the Gyro. It seems 20 seconds left with the respawn. He will jump up to Kuku. That is the target they probably want him to aim for though, and he is just gonna get shredded. They were all spread out. There was just no way for him to get a 4 or 5-man call off. And now Ancient going down with that Desolator makes it very easy. And that's it. They call GG well played. They understand they can't defend any further. John, TNC, I mean, it wasn't as convincing as we would have thought, but again, they are kind of playing a bit of a trolly draft. And in the end, they get the team wipe after the buybacks. They finish off the Ancient.
Yeah, I mean, you know, TNC was running core Undying, which you really don't see too often. They still managed to make it somehow work. I think towards the end, Kuku did transition into a support, mostly, and